Connor,
Yes.
Series 11, Episode 10, The Battle of Ranskoor of Kolos.
You actually said it right this time.
Hey!
You had time to prepare for that.
I practiced. First things first. Patreon.com/Genesis of Androzani if you want to support us. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We have benefits and stuff. You get videos a day early, and there will be some Patreon exclusive content eventually when we have the time to do it.
Considering next year is a gap year for Doctor Who, I am assuming that we're going to have a lot of free time to plan out some stuff for the channel, so...
As opposed to just doing episode reviews like this, we'll have a bit more fun.
So if you would like to support us, you could check out the $5 tier, and when we get back to topical videos on a regular schedule, you will get them a day before YouTube. And if you would like to suggest the videos for us to do, join the $10 tier.
Yes.
Of course, you don't have to do anything. You could just watch our videos anyway, or just not watch them. It's up to you, but the option's there.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Please support us. Thank you very much. We appreciate everything that comes our way.
Oh yeah, it's been a great experience this year. With this channel.
300. We're varying between 325 and 330 subscribers, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
I really like it. You guys are great.
I think that's a pretty good accomplishment for the first year.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we've only been going, 8 months?
Properly since about March.
Yeah, since we started with Jake. I mean, you had a couple things before then.
Mm.
No, they were good. It's just we've improved.
They were very reserved commentaries on a couple of classic Who stories.
But there were less commentaries as more as...
I think it's
not commentaries and literally watching it and talking over it.
It was a nice sort of template for what was to come.
It was the genesis.
Yes, the genesis of Androzani.
Man, why didn't they have the Masters theme from Series 3? Who cares? It's a great episode. The Battle of Ranskoor of Kolos. Initial reaction, go.
It happened.
Did it? Didn't feel like it.
Well, yeah. That's about it, really. If you watch my reaction, you'll know what I feel. I basically sat there and... Because during this whole series, you'll notice that during the ad breaks, I talk to the camera.
Yeah.
This was the one where at every single ad break, I was like, okay, still waiting.
When's it going to start? Yeah.
When's it going to start? When's it going to start? When is it going to start?
And it never really...
When is it going to start? Yep.
Never really did.
Not really, no.
Yeah, I'm the same. It took me... Because I watched...
I mean, to be fair, it did actually... I think it was like in the last 10 minutes it started, but when it started, it turned into trying to be a finale. Like, it was like... I think Chibnall looked at like a... He's like, oh, okay, so...
Nothing much.
We're going to do nothing much. We're just going to have a whole bunch of exposition, and then at the very end we'll copy and paste things from other finales, but not have any meaning for them. Like, we'll just be like, oh,
no upward
this is a finale, so we have to threaten the entire Earth. But we won't actually show the damage it's doing. We will just show a CGI
There's no upward trajectory. It's just... Doing! Like, there's no build. And it does. We'll get into it when we get to plot.
So, I'm sure a lot of the viewers at home, they watch a lot of episodes and they know if they enjoy them or not. But then sometimes they may not necessarily know why, and that's fine. If you're just a casual viewer, that's great. But basically, the reason why you get this really intense feeling when you're watching a lot of those Russell finales is because they all move in an upward trajectory.
Yeah.
Utopia is a perfect example of this.
There's constantly a forward momentum.
It's an episode that starts down here and slowly builds all the way up, right? It's the same with Bad Wolf. Mm-hmm. It's the same with Army of Ghosts. I think the Stolen Earth is more like it starts up here and continues up here for the whole thing. It's just fucking crazy.
You know what's interesting about that?
What?
Is you're talking about the penultimate stories of each season as opposed to the finales
Yes,
themselves.
but the thing is that this doesn't have a penultimate, so I'm
No.
having to talk about it as a whole.
Because as comparing the, it's this weird thing of, I wouldn't mind a finale that didn't necessarily feel like a finale if the story was interesting and was like a good enough episode where it's kind of the best the season had to offer at the very end, you know?
Yeah.
Even if it wasn't like all these characters are coming back, or there's this finality to it, because obviously there's the Graham Tim Shaw thing, which we'll get into. But in this, if you remove those elements, there's nothing.
Yeah.
It is such a flat, boring. I watched these.
Coming out of that finale, I thought that I would be like, because just based on how Series 11 was received by the general public, I was thinking, I feel like this is going to be one of those ones where I don't like it, but a whole bunch of other people do for whatever reason. But it actually turns out that most people, even in the general public, didn't like this finale.
It's boring.
Yeah.
It's really boring. Like,
Yeah.
big ideas with no. There's not. The emotional stakes feel so subdued. If you know what I mean? That's been a constant throughout this whole series. Is everything, no matter how good it is, it feels just subdued and pulled back. And we don't want to go too far. To avoid being melodramatic, they've avoided drama.
Yeah.
To avoid being action-oriented, they've avoided action. To avoid being, I don't know, anything. There's just nothing. And I watch these episodes on replay because I just don't have time to watch them on broadcast because full-time work. But when this one took me 4 sittings to get through. I watched about 10 minutes. I was like, I'll finish it later. Then I waited the next day. Waited the day after that. I'll finish it next day. I did eventually afterwards, for the sake of this review, watch it in its entirety, just so I could give it its fair dues as a whole experience. But fuck, it was hard.
Yeah. And it's annoying because I want to be able to sink my teeth into it and rip it apart, but I can't because it's not actually a terrible episode. It's just a nothing episode.
It's bland. If 42 was a finale.
Yeah, basically. Pretty much.
What else did we expect from Chibnall?
I don't know.
I don't know why I was deluded.
A Broadchurch, Torchwood, Series 2.
I thought maybe he would have improved in his science fiction writing. Not even his science fiction writing, but his character writing within science fiction.
Yeah.
Because his character writing on Broadchurch is really good.
And, I think the character writing in Torchwood Series 2 is way more interesting than it
by
is
far.
here.
Yeah. It's...
Even if it's a bit, adult and a bit Welsh, it's interesting.
Man, the Welshness adds this sort of quirk that this series doesn't have. It's like people would say, the Doctor is quirky. Yes, but that's not enough to give the show an identity.
It's almost like...
This particular series has no identity.
It's almost like the Welshness of Davies and the Scottishness of Moffat gave it a certain flair.
Yeah.
Whereas Chibnall's just plain old English biscuit, you know?
Yeah. But some teas can be nice, and yet... Anyway, let's...
Doesn't live up to the name either.
The Battle of Ranskoor av Kolos.
It sounds like something from like a Seventh Doctor Big Finish finale.
You could even hear the Doctor talking about it in awed whispers, like the Battle of Ranskoor. But you know what I mean. Like you could hear him rattling off. But it's just so flat. I felt like I was watching nothing. I got nothing. There was nothing in this series made me excited for the finale. It felt like just an episode.
Yeah, it was just like an average episode of Doctor Who at the end of the series.
There were some stakes, yes. There were some stakes. There were high stakes, but they didn't have... again, there was an attempt at emotional depth, but it was so underplayed, as it has been. It's like they're too scared to go... It's like they're afraid to go into soap opera territory, so then it just becomes nothing.
Yeah.
I would much rather super touchy-feely, over-the-top, super smushy...
the
bad melodrama than nothing.
Yeah.
It's just the Graham stuff. Bradley Walsh is a very charming man, And the Graham stuff could have been incredibly captivating. But I just didn't care because Chibnall just is the worst writer of this series.
Yeah. He's one of the worst writers of New Who, I think.
Possibly.
Yeah.
He's not as bad as some guys who've only won 1 or 2, which are really bad.
Oh yeah, like a Stephen Thompson or
Yeah.
a Matthew Graham, but there's just nothing he's written that's actually impressive. Like it's all
There's nothing clever.
like the best stuff is decent and the
Yeah.
worst stuff is awful.
There's nothing clever.
Yeah.
And I just feel like this series has wasted my time.
Yeah.
This is the least rewatchable television, or at least the least rewatchable science fiction television I've ever seen.
Mm.
I'm trying to be calm about this and trying to be like fair to it. But I just could not get anything out of it. I reached my breaking point with this episode.
Yeah.
I tried and tried and tried, and I was like, hey, these are good ideas underneath this Series 11 blanket. But when it was Chibnall, the showrunner, who's like, here, let's go full Series 11, which means let's go full nothing, have nothing, no identity, no spark, no ambition, just have generic stuff. It just did nothing for me. I got nothing out of it. And I hope there are people out there who did enjoy it, because there's a lot of work that went into this. I really hope that some people loved it, but I haven't seen anyone, as you mentioned, even casual fans. They were bored too.
Yeah.
And in reviews I've seen of this, everyone's like, it was fine.
Yeah.
Bad finale,
Yeah.
but it was fine. That's the highest praise I've heard. It was a bad finale, but a fine episode.
Yeah. My mum, who's never seen the show before, I mean, she watched, I think she watched some John Pertwee when she was like a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
But she hadn't really ever seen the show before, and she sat there with me because she was interested, and within 10 minutes she was gone. And I was like, oh, did it confuse you? She's like, no, I just didn't, there was just nothing. And I'm like, well, that's true.
It's so sterile. I suppose we should go into the proper review. The Doctor.
Okay. So, throughout the entire thing until the very end, she annoyed me. But then her very, very, very last sort of goodbye was actually quite nice.
Yeah.
But that's it.
She didn't annoy me as much as I was... I just felt nothing. It's going to be a repeated thing throughout this review for me. I just got nothing. I didn't dislike anything. I didn't like anything. I just... Nothing.
Her like science-y plot device, like run around the place doing things character went into overdrive in this episode. Like, it was bad. Like, the amount of fucking sonic screwdriver in this episode was ridiculous.
But the thing is, I was so apathetic by that point. Like,
Yeah.
I just couldn't care. I was like, fuck, there's more sonic screwdriver. I just don't give a shit anymore. I don't care what happens in this story.
Yeah.
Here, have the whole episode just be 50 fucking minutes of the screwdriver on screen and be done with it. It'd be the same experience for me.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
She was just there to be a mechanic, basically. And that's all she did. And then at the very end, I'm like, oh, that was very doctorish, but that was it. Like, you got the smallest...
That is right. I did like... The only really real thing I liked in this episode was that ending little bit.
Yeah.
The rest of it, nada.
Yeah.
And I don't mean I disliked it all. I just... Nothing. Didn't like... I felt... I got nothing. And the reason I'm getting so heated over this is I want to feel something in my favorite television show. Fucking hell. Even Moffat at his worst got me passionately angry.
Yeah, check out our other videos if you want to see that.
But this, I'm just more baffled by it. How... What was the thought process behind it?
I have a friend at work who watches Doctor Who for pretty much opposite reasons to us, and even he agrees that this series was lackluster.
Yeah, it's lackluster's the best word for it, because...
Because he watches Doctor Who to see the sexual tension and the romance between the characters, and he got nothing out of the series.
No. It's...
Because, like...
As I said, fucking go for it. Put Yaz and the Doctor in a relationship. Who cares at this point? Just do something. You know?
Yeah.
It's just... Whatever. I just can't care.
That's what you always got to give credit to Davies and Moffat, is they always did something.
They went balls to the wall.
Yeah. In every episode they wrote, they went balls to the wall.
Why was Chibnall chosen?
I don't know.
I suppose he's been writing for the BBC for about 20 years consistently.
God, what's that fucking show called?
Born and Bred? Watch Stu Bagfuls and the Five Who... Is it the Five Who fans?
Yeah.
Their review reaction to that, it's very funny.
For fuck's sake. It's so boring. Is Chris Chibnall the most boring writer in all of TV?
I've yet to see the contrary, so yes. Oh, then again, no, I'm not going to say that. That'll upset people. But I'm right on that. But you'll never find out what I'm talking about. It also sort of relates to that thing that I didn't say, but I messaged you. You messaged, yeah. Similar, but not quite the same. It's the TV sort of equivalent to that.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, you can probably put pieces together. Graham!
Okay, so his entire character for the first, 2 acts was all just anticipation, which, to the credit of the episode, did, it was pretty much the only thing hooking me, was the fact that I was like, what's Graham going to do? What's Graham going to do? He wants to kill Tim Shaw, right? And then...
What the woman who fell to Earth needed was Tim Shaw personally affecting the lives of each one of the companions.
Yeah.
Deeply. Ryan was obviously affected, but it was more focused on Graham lost his wife than Ryan lost his grandmother.
Yeah.
Have her sister be murdered by Tim Shaw. Have Tim Shaw be and then obviously maybe the Doctor, I don't know. Have the Doctor lose something from Tim Shaw, at Tim Shaw's hands. So there's more personal stakes that affects everyone in the unit.
You know what? I know that I know we're not supposed to do this and cross errors and stuff. They should have had Bill Potts stay till Woman Who Fell to Earth and have her die in that episode.
Yeah, I'd be fine with that.
Yeah. Even though it would completely fuck up the Doctor Falls, you could have done that. Or Nardole. You could have had Nardole stay.
Yeah.
And have him die in Woman Who Fell to Earth.
Yeah, and just give the Doctor...
And you would have gotten a scene between Matt Lucas and Bradley Walsh on Doctor Who.
And that's that thing of... At least then, the Doctor could still be sort of this quirky, childish character, but still have that tragedy underneath. And within the context of Series 11, you don't have to go, oh, it's the time, or oh, it's this, because clearly they wanted to strip back on that. But have those personal stakes of, oh, and my friend was murdered by this guy, and I could have done something to save them. That's a much more intimate stake, which would go better with this. There wasn't enough at stake for all the characters for this to obviously there were stakes, but internal conflict. It just wasn't
really a finale.
There was no internal conflict.
Fuck, the mid-series finales from 6 and 7 had more stakes than this.
Oh, Good Man Goes to War is so much.
And Angels Take Manhattan both had way more stakes than this episode.
Yeah. And fuck, I like them by comparison.
Exactly. By comparison. Haven't forgotten them, but still, by comparison to this, they piss all over this finale.
Because there's energy in them.
Yeah.
There's something.
Yeah.
And, the general public seem to like them.
Yeah.
And there's something to be said about that, to be fair. There is something to be said about that argument.
Of course. Because the character development in those episodes is very, it's going, they go real hard with the characters, you know?
Yeah, and the thing is about Amy and Rory and the way they ended up is the direction they kind of went with those characters I didn't really like. I liked them being a happy couple.
Yeah.
And the fact that they went this kind of bitter and aggressive route, I was just kind of, nah.
But at least it was something.
It was something. There was some attempt at every person in this... Because River was even affected because that was her parents.
Yeah.
Everyone had a personal involvement in the stakes, and the threat was there. There was just... This episode was frustrating.
You know what they should have done?
What?
So, cut out the Saranga Conundrum.
Yep.
Right? Have Grace stay all the way to episode 9, and then have this be a 2-parter and have her die in part 1.
Yeah.
And then, part 2, Graham wants to kill Tim Shaw.
Yeah.
And we would have an entire series of develop. You know what? 3-part finale.
Yeah.
Part 1, Grace dies. Part 2, it takes you away.
Oh, yes.
Part 3, this one.
Yeah.
You could do so many things. You could have done it so many different ways, but the way they chose to do it was
the most boring option.
fucking boring. Nothing happened. Oh, you shot him in the foot. Oh, nice one, Grandad. Should we get on to Ryan?
Ryan. He should have been. He should have been the one. Imagine if. Okay, say Yaz didn't have someone who was murdered by Tim Shaw. She's a policewoman. We've established she has negotiation skills. Ryan and Graham are on the same page. They want to kill Tim Shaw.
Mm-hmm.
They've got Tim Shaw at gunpoint. For some reason, if they kill Tim Shaw, everything's going to fall apart and, the doctor can't save the day, right?
Yep.
The doctor's off with whoever else dealing with shit over this way.
Yeah.
Yasmin is on the earpiece talking to these guys, using her police training as a negotiator to tell them not to murder Tim Shaw. Then the one thing we've learned about Yaz as a character comes into play. Again, there was so many different ways they could take all the things they set up, and they chose the most boring one.
Yep. Bullshit.
Speaking of Yaz, I think we're done with Ryan because there's nothing to him in this episode.
Yeah, and there was nothing to Yaz. She just asked questions.
Yep.
Like she always does.
All right, let's move on to Shimsar.
Tim Shaw. He stole... Chris Chibnall stole that name from a Japanese train station or whatever. Or maybe that comes from something else. But I was playing a Japanese Monopoly the other night, and I saw that, and I was like, Tim Shaw.
Oh.
Tim Shaw!
Shimsar.
Yeah.
I want to look at what it actually means in Japanese.
I don't know.
Be interesting.
Railway.
Or maybe it means boring.
Boring train station.
But at least train stations have interesting people on them.
What if it means, like, something to do with teeth?
Ew. Dentist.
Dentist train
Isaac Yankum.
Eviscerated. Yeah, nah, he was shit. I don't.
He was the most boring villain, in my opinion, of Series 11.
He's the most, like, apart from the teeth, he's like the most generic Doctor Who main villain ever.
Yeah.
Like, in terms of like a villain that actually.
Reoccurring.
Fucking Tim Shaw has had more appearances than the Celestial Toymaker. Unless you count Big Finish. He's had more appearances than, like, all these one-off... He's had more appearances than Sutek. He's had more appearances than fucking... Like, just so many...
The Devil.
The Devil.
Well, technically. Oh, no, because he's only in the second part.
That's true. There are so many villains that have only been in one episode. And Tim Shaw was
The
in two.
Absorbaloff.
Well, no, he's a one-hit wonder.
This like chicken.
Absorbaloff needs to be contained, otherwise...
Imagine if the Absorbaloff was the one who came out of the orb at the end of Army of Ghosts. It tastes like chicken.
He absorbs all the Cybermen.
Goes to the parallel world and absorbs everyone.
No, he absorbs Rose and then, like, the...
The dog.
No, like they have the beach scene and she's inside the Absorbaloff.
Yeah.
And then, like, he just melts into the ocean.
And we just see her face she becomes like Cassandra.
There we go. Oh, Karma. We're calling him a bitchy trampoline.
Yeah. Talking out your ask not.
New Earth pisses all over this finale for me.
Well, because at least it's terrible, in my opinion, but at least it's entertaining.
At least the general public liked it.
Exactly.
At least there's funny moments and...
Tim Shaw, there's nothing we can say because he's most generic. Like, if he showed up on, like, Arrow or something, or The Flash, you'd be like, okay. He's just like every other suited, muscly dude who speaks menacingly like this. He's so generic.
It's got to sound like Kylo Ren.
But even Kylo Ren has nuance in his voice.
That's true.
Because Adam Driver's a fucking great actor.
Oh, he's the best thing about Disney Star Wars. Except for maybe...
Donald Gleason's hamming it up in the first one is fucking
that's
great.
True, yeah.
The last day of the Republic! It's amazing.
Yep, he's very Hitler.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, Adam Driver is brilliant.
Oh, he's fantastic.
Imagine Adam Driver as the master.
Ooh.
Adam Driver and...
Capaldi.
Ooh.
A young master and an old doctor.
What about Adam Driver and like a serious Matt Smith? Like Series 5.
Yeah. Adam Driver and John Pertwee.
Well, that'd be that's such a weird mix.
Adam Driver and Patrick Troughton.
Still a weird... I can't place those actors together in my mind. It's just...
Anyway, we've said enough about Tim Shaw.
John Cena was the master.
John Cena? The Undertaker is the Doctor.
Oh, God.
Master! Ain't no grave can hold my body down.
Oh, man. Wrestling's so stupid.
But at least it's entertaining. Well, Becky Lynch is great, but go watch wrestling podcasts if you want to learn about that.
No, I'm not starting a wrestling podcast.
Oh, neither am I. I cannot stomach watching Raw every week. In fact, I've stopped watching Raw. No, we're stopping this now. This is not what we're talking about. I just saw what you wrote as the writer.
I was hoping you'd get to that later.
It just in the corner of my eye. I was like, hey, why does it say that? Paltraki.
That was the guy. That was Mark Addy's character. Yeah. Mark Addy is a phenomenal actor.
Oh, for sure.
And somehow Chris Chibnall made him boring.
Yep, that's pretty much all we can say about Paltraki.
Bring me the breastplate stretcher.
You've gotten fat.
Ned, I need you by my side. I'm getting too fat. Why didn't you lose weight? No! More wine!
And Dinio.
Can't remember who that was.
Delph.
So there was two characters that were doing the 42 thing with their eyes.
Yeah.
And that's what they did.
And they were grimacing like... that's exactly what I thought. I was like,
Yeah.
This is like 42.
I think there was like some like semi-interesting like Force rocks thing at the start of the episode, and then Tim Shaw arrived.
Oh yeah, when they're doing like the meditation stuff, I wish it was just more about the monks and their religion.
Yeah, I wanted like a whole backstory
the
of
fact that Tim Shaw was like their adopted god was like bullshit. I really didn't like that. But the fact that there was like these religious monks who, as you said, were basically like Jedi. They had the Force.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Do something with that.
But it only lasted for like 2 seconds.
And then it was like, oh, title sequence.
Well, they already had the title sequence because they don't have any cold openings in this series.
No, because that'd be too fun.
I love the cold opening to Tooth and Claw.
Can't remember it. Oh yes, of course. How do I forget? Of course.
No, the Fist of Man.
It looks so good on Blu-ray. That episode looks amazing on Blu-ray. It's crazy.
Especially because it came right after New Earth.
You watch it on DVD, it's kind of crappy. Like, it's aged in the way it looks, but you watch it on the Blu-ray transfer, it's extraordinary.
Genuine gothic horror.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It just looks so wonderful.
Oh.
I'm saying.
Can't wait till they get to Like I want to see what they can do with Horror of Fang Rock on Blu-ray, because that story needs it needs more.
No more.
Because like the CGI shots in that episode are real shit, and it's annoying because Horror of Fang Rock is such a great atmospheric story, and it just needs a bit more touching up. Like, I know Classic Who is supposed to be charming, but that story in particular deserves to be cinematic.
Yeah. Saying.
I don't remember.
Does it matter?
No.
Okay. Plot.
Shit. Bad. Mediocre.
Alright.
It's not the worst episode ever, but that's the thing. I wish it was, because then I could rant about it, but I can't rant.
There's nothing to say.
There's nothing to say.
It's just...
It's your usual Chris Chibnall bollocks.
It's like your friend comes to you, and they say, hey, I've got this idea for a story. And they tell you it, and it's the most generic thing, and you've heard it 1,000 times before. And you're like, oh, yeah, okay, cool, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, it exposes...
It's alright.
Chris Chibnall is a writer that exposes Doctor Who's formula. You shouldn't do that. You should be creative and clever enough to use the formula, but change it in a way that it masks the formula.
Yeah.
That's what all other writers do, except for Chibnall, who makes it worse by exposing it to the light.
By playing into the formula as opposed to playing around it.
Yeah. Or subverting it, which is even better.
The best. Which I have an idea. If I ever get to write Big Finish, I have a very specific idea involving that.
Yeah. Rob Sherman, for example, who leads you down a path of the formula and then subverts that.
Then there's a giant baby. I'm not going to spoil which one, but just listen to all of Rob Sherman's Big Finish. Strong recommendation. Oh, man. Now, the writer, and I'm going to let you screenshot this and put it on screen as what you've sent to me. That. Go on.
What, Chris Chibnall?
Yeah.
Fucking cunt.
Oh. He seems like a lovely man.
No, he seems like he's an alright man.
He's not like Moffat, who's just relentlessly charming.
Stephen Moffat, I miss you.
I miss you, Russell. I miss you, Stephen. Can Russell and Stephen just start a podcast?
Yeah.
And talk about whatever?
Yeah.
Please.
Talk about food.
Yeah, I don't care. Anything. They're witty allegories. And
they can talk about their perverted minds and why they put them in Doctor.
Yeah.
That funny bit where I made the master have a boner.
Oh, yes, and the man who skull-fucked the concrete.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I wanted to write about gridlock, but it's not one of the kids' ones. I had to go for Rose instead.
Yes. It was wonderful.
Yes.
We've said all we can say about Chibnall.
Oh, and have Mark Gatiss on as well.
Oh, yes.
Just have Mark Gatiss.
Mark Gatiss be the moderator between the two of them.
Yeah. Yeah, just have Mark Gatiss talk about Classic Who.
Yeah.
Yes, do you remember that shot in Planet of the Daleks where this happened? Oh, I don't remember. Oh, no, I know everything. I know everything about Classic Who.
Don't question me
Absolutely
on this.
everything.
Yeah, don't question me on this. I was in The Stranger. I've been into the depths.
No, they won't ever talk about that.
I'm pretty sure Mark Gatiss refused to talk about it.
Should we... Wait, is there actually, versions of it online somewhere?
I think so. I think if you go into, Daily Motion, you can find it.
You know how we're doing Worst of Classic Who?
We should do it.
I feel like...
There's 6 of the films, I think.
I feel like we should do Dimensions in Time and The Stranger. I'll edit this out if we have to. And then Class.
Because I don't want to promise doing that. But no, yeah, maybe. We'll see. But definitely The Stranger, if we can find it, in Dimensions in Time, definitely.
Yeah, because Class isn't really Classic Who.
No.
So... we'll never do it.
We're never gonna do it.
Actually, no. How about we'll say we'll do it with Jake, and then that'll be long enough for us to forget.
Yeah, and then we'll just say we forgot.
Because we'll be after Hell Bent by that point, so.
Yeah. We'll be done. We'll be spent. Director Jamie Childs. Fine, good, pretty.
It looked big on the outside.
Yeah.
And on the inside, it looked.
It was just shallow. Not the direction. The direction made it look very big and grand, but because the writing was so shallow...
The problem is specifically the scene where they're trying to capture Earth, they needed to show shots of people on Earth, like Yaz's family, for example, being affected by this. Like, say, show their house shaking or something.
Yeah.
Because at the very least, you'd feel scared for them.
And because Yaz's family are the ones we've established, then something we relate to. And
I thought this finale was going to tie up all these families or something, but maybe that's just because I'm too used to...
Oh, this is wishful thinking. Maybe Chibnall's playing the long game, and then next season it'll all come to a head.
Because I'm sure I heard somewhere he had like a 2-year plan for this.
Well, I've read... I
arc.
think it was Mr. Tardis who said, like, because he knows people who work for the BBC, he can't confirm what it is, but he's heard that there are big plans for Series 12 as to why it's taking so long.
Yeah.
So apparently there is big plans in motion, but I don't want to get hyped about that because rumours and also Chibnall.
Yeah, and also the thing is, like, that sounds interesting. The problem is this finale was still piss poor.
Yeah.
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 And the thing is like, you say, okay, well, if you look at Classic Who, the finales in Classic Who weren't really finales. The problem with that is that a lot of those finales, like the Talons of Wing Chang and the Seeds of Doom and whatnot, they were their own self-contained stories, and they were brilliant.
And those did not adhere to the modern structure of storytelling on television.
No, and that was serialized as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You can't compare structure between classic and new Who.
Yeah.
Because they're different. They're so different.
Yeah.
You can say maybe which works better for the
I
science fiction storytelling.
I guess if you want to compare, like, the only comparison you could make is probably something where there's a series arc, like, say, The Ultimate Foe, maybe.
Maybe.
But even then, they're still self-contained and serialized.
Yeah. It's just, this episode is so...
Yeah.
Alright, music, second Aganola.
I don't really remember, but I think it was alright.
Yeah, it was still pretty. It just didn't... He just never got anything to shine.
Yeah.
I don't think it's by the fault of his own. Again, because the writing is so shallow. He doesn't have enough to really be able to... He's not given the diving platform in which he can propel himself from.
Yeah. When someone says to me finale music, I can only picture Murray Gold's music, so I'm not sure what to expect from him, but I guess it was just more of the same.
Yeah. Not bad, by any means.
Yeah.
One of the strongest elements of the episode, just that the episode let him down. It's like the direction was letting down by the writing, the music was let down by the writing, the actors were let down by the writing. The editing was let down by the writing.
You know what?
What?
They need to do a historical finale.
Yeah.
Have they actually done one in the new series?
Not really. Wedding of River Song, sort of, but that's
no.
No, because it was a timeless thing, so that doesn't really count. I'm sure someone will be like, hey, this one.
Not really, no. No, I don't think so.
Parting of the Ways.
Doomsday. Last two Time Lords, Journey's End, Big Bang. Oh, I guess they go into the past in the Big Bang because like there's Roman soldiers and stuff.
Yeah.
I guess that's the closest thing.
But I think you're right in terms of they should have one purely set in history.
Yeah, because like they've had series openers in history, like Deep Breath, for example. Like they should have a finale in history. Was Survival in history?
No, I think it was I think it was contemporary to the time.
The greatest show on the galaxy is Alien, right?
Well, isn't Survive... Oh, I need to rewatch those.
Dragonfire, Ultimate Foe. I'm trying to go backwards in my mind. Revelation of the Daleks is Alien.
Yeah.
Twin Dilemma. Don't know. Alien, I assume.
Yeah.
King's Demons. I think is Earth's history.
Anyway.
Well, there you go then.
Viewership, 5.3 million overnight. Down from last week by 0.2.
Read what I wrote down.
Oh! Every episode in the entire series has had a decline in overnight viewership.
There was no spike up for the finale. It didn't matter that it was a finale, it just went down.
No one cares.
This was the least viewed episode of the series, and it was the fucking finale.
Because there's nothing put into it to make people go, oh, this is the finale, I should at least tune in for that.
Yeah.
Because even people who are like, okay, with most of the series, they're like, well, if I missed the finale, I missed the finale. It's not... Because they're not invested. There's no hook. The only hook is the Graham thing, but that was fucking solved in the previous episode, which went back on, and the next... It's just...
This series is like the opposite of 26, where 26 started on obscenely low ratings because there was no advertising, and then went up because it was so good.
Yeah.
And then by the time you got to Survival, they were like back up to like...
It's like the opposite of good word of mouth, where everyone's just like, whatever.
Yeah.
It's
Bad word of mouth.
But it's not even like, oh, this is shite. It's just like, it's boring. Whatever.
Yeah.
It's just, no one cares.
You can't even hate watch the series.
No, it's just boring.
Yeah.
The only time I'm probably ever going to rewatch this series is unless something incredibly clever happens with Series 12, which requires you to go back to get something, which I highly doubt.
Yeah.
The only time I'm really going to rewatch this is when we watch it with Jake.
Yeah. Or maybe something like It Takes You Away, which you can watch over and over because it's got so many different...
Even then, I might struggle. I'm so apathetic towards Series 11, man.
Yeah, it's quite off-putting, isn't it?
Yeah. Well,
I feel like there's individual scenes I might watch like on YouTube.
Oh yeah, I'll watch clips, but I won't watch a whole
But,
episode.
like, a whole episode is just like...
It's a slog.
It's a slog.
All
Even
right.
the best ones.
We've already reached it. Your conclusion and rating out of 10.
This was a pathetic, mediocre finale that offered me absolutely nothing. I thought it was poor. I don't think it's like a terrible episode, but it's a terrible finale.
Yeah.
It was boring. It was flat.
Shallow.
Uneventful. Uninspired. Completely mediocre Doctor Who. And I can't really say much more than that. I give it a 5 out of 10.
I agree with everything you just said. So flat, so deflating, boring, dull, repetitive, bleh. I hope someone likes it because I don't want everyone to just be apathetic towards it. Because I want someone to get some enjoyment out of this. But for me, from my own perspective, 5 out of 10. Who cares?
Flat 5.
Whatever. Middle of the road completely.
Yeah.
Middle of the road episode, bad finale.
Pretty much.
And I guess we'll see you in, unless you have anything else to add.
No.
We'll see you in the next one.